Sup everybody, James here with another video review for you, and today I'm taking a look at the very much anticipated Transformers Prime Deluxe Arcee. Now, Arcee is a very nice representation of her CGI counterpart on the Transformers Prime TV series. However, there are a few minor issues that I have with the figure that have been highlighted throughout many other reviews. Now, putting beside the two weapons for a moment, and just looking at Arcee, Arcee is a very nice bike. Now, I do have one or two minor complaints. Number one, unfortunately, the blue color that is used for Arcee, or the color of the plastic used, is not the correct color that is seen on the TV series. It's more of a dark metallic blue, if you want to call it that. Unfortunately, it's not used on Arcee. It's more of like a pure blue. However, this color is still beautiful. There's a clean, crisp paint applications done on this figure. For example, both wheels have silver trimmings on the inside that are very neatly presented. This has to be amazingly applauded. Now, these parts here are her knee pads, and these are her legs in robot mode. Now, on the outside, this little sort of streak is painted silver on either side. That is very much expected. However, if you can notice on the inside, both sides are painted silver, which means on each leg, each side is painted silver, which I think is amazing. Hasbro have unfortunately failed to do that on several Transformers in the past, many of which I can't name, I can't think off the top of my head at the moment. However, this is an amazing step forward, so congratulations, Hasbro. Now, there are some black applications, for example, the back, the sort of seat for Arcee that could be used. The handlebars are actually very nicely printed. You could even see the two screen dials if you wanted to for the speed and stuff. The brake handles are even done nicely, although it doesn't move and it's just solid plastic. That seriously has to be applauded. There's even detail on the handlebars themselves, so that is incredible. Now, unfortunately, I do find one disadvantage in the vehicle mode. The first is, well, apart from perhaps unfortunately the color and maybe one or two paint applications that may be missing, for example around here on the exhaust and stuff. As a child would intend to do, they would intend to roll it back and forth. However, because this figure means that you have to hold it upright and your finger would be at the front as you roll it back and forth, and because the front wheel up in here, there is no peg or anything to support it in. It's rather loose, unfortunately, which means by rolling it about, it comes loose very easily. So unfortunately, that's one disadvantage as well. However, this is where it gets interesting. For the transformation, which I'm not just going to go straight into now, you have to fold the bike wheel up, around, to the side and back down. That will save more space in robot mode. However, because of this unique spinning ability, this means that the front wheel can actually turn. So if you want to do stop motion and you have Arcee like this, that means you'll get a much more realistically looking pose in vehicle mode. So that is incredibly easy to do, and that is very well thought out. Now, Arcee does have a sort of kickstand for vehicle mode, so that's very good. As for her weapons, Arcee comes with a blade that she has that is seen on the TV series. It's unfortunately a little bit too big, but I think it's pretty much a pure silver repaint of the first edition blade the first edition Arcee had. However, we now come to Arcee's gun, and this thing is far too ridiculously huge. However, there are two tabs. The first is inside, so therefore it makes it look like it's extending out of her arm, and the other is here, so it can make it look like it's just holding in her hand. And the good part is there are two pegs, one on either side of the front wheel, and you can actually peg it in on that side, plus there's a peg on the blade, so you can also do the same there. so at least you won't have to worry about the weapons getting lost if it's in Arcee. However, you can also combine the weapons using the little hole at the top of the gun and the peg at the top of the blade. You can actually peg them together to form what I believe is a bayonet or a musket. I don't think it's a musket, I think it's more of a bayonet. I'm not a gun expert, so I don't know. However, I'm not a huge fan of this, so I just prefer both weapons separate. So yeah. Now, just for a little bit of a size comparison, here's Ratchet and here's Arcee. Now, unfortunately, Arcee is a bit taller than Ratchet, and unfortunately that's a bit of a disadvantage in size scale, but that's not to worry much about. And one very, very last disadvantage that I'll get into before robot mode is that Arcee is far too wide. Now, you can see her arms there, however, because they can't just sort of fit into the tank, they sit on the outside with these two panels here, just keeping them in place. However, for this high level of a children's toy, this seriously has to be applauded. So congratulations, Hasbro. Now I'm going to get into the transformation here, and it's actually pretty easy. Now it is fun to do, even for a teenager like myself, but I'm just going to get on with it anyway. So these two panels on either side of the bike you fold forward, like so. Now the front wheel, as I said, you have to fold it up, around, to the back, and then fold the wheel around and fold it back. Now I'm gonna show you one issue I have with this in robot mode. But getting on with it, you take Arcee's arms from either side of her sides, and then you sort of push down from the top of them like that. Then the legs you fold out this and then fold. Now here's a very cool automorph feature that is involved. This sort of hip area, when pushing it down, a little peg will tap into a little hole here, and while that happens, it will then push Arcee's head up. So if you notice, it pushes her head up, and that ultimately pushes part of this back. So after doing that, you have to split the legs, splitting it through the exhausts, and then having to split the wheels then. Then after doing that, fold the wheel in through 2 clicks, you'll know when you get it. Fold the foot forward and then fold half the wheel all the rest of the way in, like so. Fold the wheel 2 clicks in, fold the foot forward, and then push the rest of it in. There we have the legs. The arms you simply rotate at the elbow and rotate the wrist. Rotate the elbow, rotate the wrist. Arms are done, and then just sort of fold the rest of this back kibble back, and there we have Arcee in robot mode. Very, very nicely done. Now, as I said, I do have one issue with the wheel rotated like this in the back. Now, from the front, I'm not sure if you can tell, but yeah, you can just tell there. Oh, sorry. Now, unfortunately, it makes Arcee look a little bit odd, so I prefer just to rotate it about and have it sticking out like that. It may seem like there's more back kibble, but it makes Arcee look much thinner, so that's very good. So that's a lot better. Now, this is incredible. The detail on this figure is nothing like I've ever seen before. Now, because there is a lot of paint, there are many new paint areas applied. Now, the one thing I love about the new figure compared to the first edition Arcee is that not only are her from the elbow to the wrist part of the arm painted the blue that is used for the rest of the figure, however, her wrist sort of strike panel, if you want to call it that, that is seen here and on the TV show, is painted the correct silver, so that is very, very good. Now, I doubt you can tell from the quality of the webcam, but on Arcee's silver crest there, the red sort of area is painted correctly as it is on the TV show, so that is absolutely incredible. Now, we do have a couple of other areas that I can't. Her chest area about here, probably about what you could consider the stomach, it is all painted correctly, and that is just amazing. Now, for articulation, Arcee's head can go side to side, it can go 360, and her head doesn't go up, but it can go down, so basically, you know, sort of like that. Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry. So yeah. The arms can go forward, back a little bit, but however, the handlebars in the rear view mirror get in the way, so they can go back but not very far. They can go in and out. They bend at the elbow, rotate 360 at the elbow. Her wrist also pivots about, and her hand spins 360, so that's an incredible amount of articulation. No waist articulation, but her legs can go forward and back, in, out, rotate 360 at the thigh. They can bend straight up at the knee, and the foot can very slightly pivot. However, there is an amazing amount of articulation with this figure, and you can get some incredible poses. It just depends on how balanced it is. Now, as for the weapons we saw earlier, Arcee has 2 holes in the back of her arms, and using this, you can peg the blade into either one of them. So here we have the blade, and using the gun, you can actually peg it in 3 different ways. Number 1, using the same hole and using the longer outside peg, you can just stick it into place. And you can just, if you want to be creative, use it like this. Then, using the peg here and the hand, like so, you can have it just extending out of her arm, and then, like so. Now, this is incredible. That's all I'm going to say. It is an incredible figure, although the color, the blue color, isn't exactly correct, and the gun is far too long. This is amazing. I mean, I haven't come across anything like this for a long time, and this is my first ever Arcee, and I must say, it's incredible. So, I would highly recommend you pick this up, and I think that's pretty much my review done for now. Alrighty, this is Knight/2020 Junior. Subscribe to my channel for videos and more. Like me on Facebook by searching for Knight/2020 Junior. Have a nice day, see you all around. Until next time, see you guys.